Welcome back to In the Loop, folks. It's been nearly a month since the U.S. reopened its borders to vaccinated visitors, but the move didn't change much for asylum seekers waiting things out in Mexico. See, things have been a bit of a mess lately. Since March of last year, the U.S. has been using Title 42 to expel adults and families without an opportunity for asylum. It's a Trump-era policy that essentially allows the U.S. to remove anyone who's recently been in a country where a communicable disease was present. In a global pandemic, it's safe to say quite a lot of places qualify. Unaccompanied minors are exempt from the policy, but data shows the Biden administration exercises Title 42 on roughly 1 of every 4 families. Many who are sent back choose to wait it out in Mexico to see if they will have success later on. But conditions and safety have been some pretty big concerns. According to Human Rights First, this year, there have been more than 7,600 kidnappings and other attacks on people blocked or expelled under the controversial policy. National correspondent John Moan traveled to one of the growing migrant encampments in Mexico and found a group of women engineers who were fed up with policy failures on both sides of the border. They decided to take matters into their own hands to improve the conditions thousands are living in as they wait in limbo.
The park in Reynosa, Mexico is barely visible. Now home to roughly 3,000 asylum seekers on any given day, praying to be allowed just steps away into the United States.
Porque por causa de la extorsión, hubo un asalto y que el cual perdió la vida mi hermano.
After her brother's murder, Catherine Chavez fled violence and death threats in her native Honduras, where she had held an office job.
Aquí más que todo es recibo lo que son las ayudas de los implementos de higiene.
Nowadays, she's chief among a crew of hygiene workers.
Tenemos lo que son papeles de baño, Sedex, cloros, olores, para hacer la limpieza de los baños.
Inside the ever-growing, squalid, crowded camp, cleanliness is an extravagance.
Eso es lo que son bolsas, guantes, mascarillas, gel para mano, cepillos para las personas que van llegando.
But a very small luxury Catherine and her American friends are happy to share.
Yeah, so we've got 3 water tanks here that we fill weekly.
Erin Hughes knows hydroengineering. She used to work for the City of Philadelphia Water Department.
A huge problem is waterborne preventable illnesses that is a hygiene problem, right?
Along with Texan Krista Cook and Coloradan Chloe Rastatter, these 3 women engineers are trying to help thousands stay relatively clean and disease-free.
Krista and I ended up working in the Matamoros refugee camp as volunteers during Hurricane Hannah, which came through at the end of July, which we've been prepping for months with our wonderful stormwater engineer who happened to be on vacation when the hurricane came through. So it ended up being Krista and I kind of figuring out how to navigate a hurricane during an informal refugee camp.
They met through a medical aid group in 2020, giving care to people stuck at another refugee camp in Matamoros, Mexico, under the ironically named Migrant Protection Protocol.
But that lesson learned is the reason we kept solidarity in our name, is to remind ourselves every day that you need to be working hand in hand with the people that you're serving.
All are foregoing stable careers as highly paid technology professionals and into the uncertain world of doing their own fundraising to further their projects and to keep themselves financially whole.
I mean, you'll see we provide what we can, but it's not nearly enough.
Because they say they're sick and tired of seeing suffering at the border.
As far as we know, we are the only engineers on the U.S.-Mexico border, which is crazy because water, sanitation, and hygiene is one of the biggest needs in camps. It's the first thing people set up is wash systems.
They've helped install portable toilets and water tanks and have fostered a working relationship with local authorities to help clean out the porta potties.
It's not just clean drinking water and sanitation inside the camps that concerns Solidarity Engineering, but also the prospect of sexual violence against the women who have to stay here.
And so I think it's a huge advantage of our group and really important as an outside NGO and humanitarian aid organization to be talking to women specifically about measures that can be taken to protect them from sexual and gender-based violence, especially when we're building wash infrastructure, places where people are alone and vulnerable. Bathrooms and showers are extremely dangerous places for women.
At a migrant shelter a mile west, a walled-off respite from one of the most dangerous cities on the U.S.-Mexico border. They're also working to improve sanitation there.
Thanks to God for having these wonderful engineers, and you know, like what we're doing down here, to me, is a big help. It's a big old necessity in this ministries.
At Pastor Hector Luna's Senda de Vida shelter, migrants live in safer conditions. Solidarity Engineering has grander ambitions at this location.
People were buying their own water.
They hauled this aqua block system from the camp at which they originally built water infrastructure. That camp dissolved when migrants inside were allowed to cross into the U.S. Their goal is to have clean drinking water and plumbing for washing, as well as water routed to the men's and women's showers. The sight of 3 younger women trying to solve basic problems hasn't gone unnoticed. Young children receive math and science instruction from Krista Cook several times a week.
So that's when we realized this community-based approach is the only way you're going to make any long-term impact, because of course you need to talk to the people you're working with before you make decisions for them. Obviously, this is so obvious now.
For now, these women help asylum seekers like Catherine Chavez stuck outdoors.
Le damos las gracias a las personas que nos traen estos implementos, porque sin la ayuda de ellos no sería posible tener lo que son los baños limpios.
Weather immigration limbo outside the U.S.
My group, my peers, and people from Colorado, my friends and family, my acquaintances, they genuinely don't know what's happening. They know on a very surface level that there's a lot of asylum seekers, there's a lot of people stuck on the U.S. border, but they have no idea how dangerous it is.
A danger, they say, they work in to change American hearts and minds about welcoming asylum seekers. John Monuzzi, Reynosa, Mexico.
Many thanks, John. We're going to take a little break, but when we're back, we're giving